Classroom of the Elite Season 3 Episode 10. This episode actually surprised me because I was really liking it and the episode actually looked pretty damn good, especially compared to Episode 9. Things were honestly going great until they ruined one of the most impactful and iconic moments of Year 1 with a single line, along with completely butchering Hirata's character. So without wasting any more time, let's talk about all the cut content and changes for this week's episode so you guys can understand just how great this part of the story was. First up, we're honestly off to a pretty bad start because the anime completely skipped multiple chapters. And since I don't want to make an hour-long video, I'll be going over what happened in these chapters in a condensed form, even more so than usual. Starting with the anime cutting out a lot of class discussions where Class C decides on their events and participants, along with classes trying to stalk each other for information. Basically, the special exam was a lot more important during this volume compared to what the anime has shown so far. Next up, we have another scene of Michan chasing after Hirata. After they both leave class, Horikita decides to go after them, but the one who actually stops her is Kyo. He tells Horikita that she shouldn't be the one chasing after him because she thinks that neglecting him is the best course of action for now. After Kyo catches up to Michan, we get some more characterization from her, which really shouldn't have been skipped. Kyo asks her why she doesn't leave Hirata alone, and Michan's Giga Chat response is that it's precisely because everyone is giving up on him that she doesn't want to. And she even says that she doesn't mind if Hirata hates her as long as she can let him know that he's not alone. Next up, we have seen where Kyo runs into Hoshimiya sensei, where she interrogates him about his dating life, along with telling him a story which implies that during their time at the school, the dorm rooms were shared between two people instead of everyone having their own room, and wonders why Kyo isn't dating anyone despite having a space where students could meet one-on-one privately in their own rooms. And Kyo wonders what the hell is she talking about. This man was genuinely wondering what the hell is wrong with her. Moving on, we have a scene of Ayanokoji group having lunch with Ichinose and a few other Class B students. Here, Ichinose talks about how a few of Class B students are being harassed and stalked by Class D ever since the special exam was announced. A particular one that stands out is Albert silently cornering one of them. Like, it's just such a funny thing to imagine. Ichinose says that there hasn't been any physical confrontation yet and wonders what exactly is Class D planning by doing this. They also talk about some other things, and when they're about to leave, Ichinose ends up looking at Kyo in the eye and gets flustered. Kyo wonders why Ichinose has been acting so strange recently and also notices a citrus scent coming from her, which is actually quite a big meme in the community, so it's really sad it's getting cut. After that, the Ayanokoji group stumbles upon Ike asking Shinohara out on a date. They also find out that he managed to get Valentine's chocolates from Shinohara, so he's asking her out for White Day. Next up, we have a Kushida scene. After classes, Kyo chases after Kushida, trying to get some information out of her. Kushida gives her usual smile and says that she doesn't feel like helping him, but Kyo thinks that deep down she's fucking pissed at Horikita for pretty much exposing her to the entire class. And Kyo's imagination of this is just insane. Really wish that this moment didn't get cut, especially because they showed this scene in the Season 3 trailer as well. Next up, we have White Day. The night before White Day, we see that Kyo got chocolates for all of the girls who gave him chocolates, and because he doesn't want other people to see, he thinks that he's just gonna drop them at their mailboxes. So the next day he wakes up early in the morning and leaves all the chocolates at their mailboxes. But he actually runs into Ichinose, who was just coming back from an early morning walk, and after seeing Kyo, she immediately gets flustered once again. Then, after checking her mailbox, Ichinose.exe stops working. She literally turned into a stone for a few minutes. After that, they talk about some other stuff, and Ichinose mentions that even more Class B students are now being harassed by Class D, and their conversation ends with the return of the citrus perfume, as Kyo wonders why he didn't manage to catch a whiff of it today. Next up, We finally have something that did get adapted, which is the Katsuragi scene. One major difference during this scene is that Katsuragi is straight up grilling Yukimura before he lets any information out, and Yukimura also tries to provoke Katsuragi, which did not work at all. Moving on to the Horikita food trap scene. This scene was quite a bit longer in the light novel, plus Horikita tricking Ayanokoji into hearing her out was quite funny as well. But at least it made it into the anime, I guess. So now, we finally move on to the Koenji moment with Hirata. This scene was handled pretty decently, I guess, but there are definitely some cool moments which got cut. First up, Koenji straight up tells Hirata to drop out if he's so broken. Hirata tells Koenji to shut up, but Koenji sees right through Hirata and knows exactly why he's not dropping out. This is also something the anime fails at portraying. Hirata doesn't actually want to cause any trouble for the class, and he's doing the bare minimum things required so the class doesn't end up losing points. And the reason he gets so angry at Michan is because he doesn't want her to bother with him and trying to help him and focus on the class right now, especially because of the upcoming special exam. Koenji and Hirata's entire confrontation was also being narrated by Kyo, and after a certain point, he even wished that Koenji would stop. In the LN, after Hirata leaves, Koenji actually carries Michan to the dorms and drops her off there, and then Kyo goes over to talk with Koenji, which was completely cut from the anime. Also, Koenji tells Michan that he'll keep an eye on her until she gets on the elevator. This man is such a giga chat, it's insane. Kyo asks Koenji why he tried to provoke Hirata out there, and Koenji replies that he didn't do it for the class and he only does things for himself. Now, before talking about the Hirata bench scene, I first want to talk about the final moment of the episode, because the Hirata moment is likely gonna be a borderline rant at some point. When the class commanders are waiting for Kaneda, Ryuen is the one who ends up arriving. And his entrance was way more epic in the light novel, especially because he turned into a background character after his defeat in volume 7, which was a really long time in the light novel. It was so shocking that even Sakayanagi and Ayanokoji were surprised by Ryuen showing up, and Ichinose was actually scared in the light novel compared to the anime, making her seem quite calm. Then everyone starts to wonder what's the point of this strategy, and even Kyo can't imagine what the hell is Ryuen planning. And Ichinose on the other hand starts to feel like Class B might end up losing. And now we finally have the bench scene. First up, when Kyo approaches Hirata, he says that he's probably disappoint Ayanokoji as well. Then, Kyo actually sits down alongside Hirata instead of standing awkwardly and acting edgy like the anime showed. And when Kyo asks Hirata about his past, he's way more chill and says that he just wants to know. Compared to the anime where Hirata asks why he should tell Kyo, and Kyo says that, "You will." Like, what the hell does that even mean? And why does Hirata even answer? Then Kyo starts bringing up uncomfortable topics for Hirata, and Kyo can notice Hirata trying to tell him to stop caring about him. Then Kyo asks about his past once again, and even says that deep down Hirata probably wanted people to know. And then Hirata talks about his past, which was honestly handled pretty decently, and the same with Kyo giving him a reality check. But the thing that pissed me off the most is the anime cutting Kyo's monologue, which was one of the best moments in the entire series. Kyo pats Hirata on the shoulder, and as tears roll down Hirata's face, Kyo talks about how men are difficult and frustrating creatures who won't let anyone see them cry. And that's exactly why he also wanted the kind of friendship where he could shed tears in front of someone. With this absolutely beautiful illustration, which is one of my favorites in the entire series. And they deadass replaced this scene with Kyo standing like an edgelord and saying that should do. Like, I'm genuinely furious that anytime Kyo is supposed to have any development in the anime or show emotions, the anime literally replaces it with that should do it. Like, what the fuck does that even mean? And the worst part is the fact that in all 26 plus volumes of Classroom of the Elite, Kyo has never said that line, ever. and the anime just decided to add it after he saved Kate. Then after he gave her the cold medicine, then when he went to Ichinose's room, and now it also ruined one of the best moments in the entire series. Like, words cannot describe how much I hate this anime adaptation, especially because they ruined Hirata's character as well. The anime makes it seem like Hirata cares about Yamauchi in particular, when that isn't the case at all. Unlike Ichinose, who cares about every single person in the class equally and would do anything to protect them, Hirata doesn't care about the people in the class. He only cares about the class as a whole and wants to keep it together because of his guilt of not being able to keep his previous class together. Compared to Ichinose, who's a genuinely good person and helps people out of the kindness of her heart. Obviously, Hirata doesn't secretly hate everyone like Kushida, but he's only trying to keep the class together for himself and not because he cares about someone like Yamauchi. Along with making Kyo edgier and replacing his monologue with "that should do it," this became one of my least favorite episodes this season, despite being one of the best episodes this season in terms of visuals. But yeah, that's pretty much all the cut content and changes for this episode, along with my borderline rant. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and consider subscribing to the channel for more Classroom of the Elite and just anime content in general.